Good morning. Welcome to the sunroom on a early morning as I record this in the dark. And if this whole permanent daylight savings time thing passes, I'm going to be recording all of these in the dark because it's going to be dark until 9 a.m. in the winter here. And that's true. And I don't know why I started off on such a hot take, but I did. So there's my hot take for the day. Don't pass this law. It's going to be terrible. Anyway, welcome to the sunroom. I am your host, Scott Bedgood. This is Scott Bedgood Sunroom Storytime episode number 17. Excited about this one. I'm going to be telling a story that I have wanted to tell for the whole time that I've been doing this podcast, but I've been waiting for the right moment, and this feels like the right moment. It's a long one, a very funny one, a very seminal, important one in my life, and a lot of my friends are involved in this one, so I'm excited for it. But before we do that, let me talk about I am headlining Mic Drop Plano on Tuesday. So in a few days, I'm going to be heading out to Texas. I will be headlining that club, big club. We've already sold quite a bit of tickets. We got to keep pushing because I really want to sell. I've been saying I want to sell it out, and I do. But, like the poster that every teacher had growing up, if you shoot for the moon and even if you miss, you land among the stars. Even if I don't sell it out, but I sell 250 tickets, I'm going to be really pumped about that. So really would like you to buy your tickets in advance because it could sell out and you could miss out. And also, if you shoot for the moon and you miss, you don't land among the stars. You land in the vast emptiness of space, and you die. I had a good weekend, though. I hosted for Brian Bates at the Comedy Catch here on Thursday. Great crowd. Kind of a fun experience because I get there and Danielle from the Comedy Catch was like, "Hey, Brian's running late." So I was hosting. I was supposed to do 10 minutes, and she goes, "You need to do 15." Which, a couple years ago, that might have been a problem, but at where I'm at in my career now, it was like perfect. I've been wanting this opportunity. I've been wanting to. I haven't. I don't know if I've talked about this here, but I actually haven't featured at the Comedy Catch. I haven't done extended time in front of Danielle, who is an important person as the owner and the booker of the Comedy Catch. So I was really excited to get that opportunity, even if it was because Brian was late. And I guess Nashville traffic was really bad. And so he showed up apparently right when I went on. And he told me later when he walked in, he heard the crowd. He was like, "Oh, dang." He's like, "All right, Scott's having a good set. We're going to have a good night." He could tell from the second he walked in that it was a hot crowd. And it really was a very hot crowd. It was very fun. Basically, like a year before, almost to the day, Brian had headlined the Comedy Catch, and the crowd was a little bigger. It was up in the balcony. It was almost sold out, I think. And it was a good crowd. But this crowd, though smaller, was hotter. And it was great. It was really, really fun. And I really enjoyed it. I met Vince Fabra, who was the feature. Heard a lot about him. He works with Dusty a lot, and he was awesome. We didn't hang a ton, but even just the little bit that we did, I could tell like really good vibes. Like I think we'd really get along. I'd love to work with him again. He's out in Birmingham, and so that was really fun. And then Friday, I headlined in Mount Juliet, Tennessee. I've been talking about this. I won't push those tickets anymore because we sold it out. We did it, guys. We sold it out. It's a coffee shop. It was a smaller venue, but there were so many people in there. There were no seats left, and there was no parking left. People were like driving around the parking lot. We had them park in the drive-through of the coffee shop. And we had some people parking like pretty illegally. But that's a pretty cool feeling when you're like, oh my gosh, there's so many people here. Like we'd have to probably turn down, if anyone else came, we'd have to tell them they like probably can't, or they can maybe stand. Like there was no room. I was like behind the counter during the show because it was the only place I could stand and, have some room. Great crowd, super fun, very like, diverse group of people, certainly more than I expected. I mean, in ages, we had a 96-year-old and we had like 14-year-olds. And race and just all kinds of, it just was not the sort of homogenous kind of like slightly older crowd that I thought it would be in Mount Juliet, Tennessee. That's probably the majority of people were like in their 40, 50s, 60s. But that was certainly not the only group of people there. And so it was really, really fun. I thank you to Comedian Discovery, Josiah. Thank you to Bryn Daniels for hosting. That's the first time I met her. She was awesome. She did a great job as a host. Very funny, very likable, just really great at bringing people in. She's done that show several times, and so she had a great familiarity with it. And then Jay Flake, the great Jay Flake. I was so pumped that he agreed to feature for me. He is a more experienced comedian than me. He's funnier than me, I think. That doesn't mean I don't think I'm funny. That means I think Jay Flake is really funny. And I was so pumped to have him feature for me. And he was great. He killed it. The crowd loved him. And it set me up perfectly, because we're very different. He's a little bit older than me. Maybe, I don't know, probably 10 years older than me. Black guy, different energy, different vibe, but we work really well together. That vibe shift, I think, is really, you need that from your opener to your headliner. Or I've featured for him, same thing, that vibe shift. Like, I think it's a really good partnership. He works a lot with Aaron Weber, who also, I think Aaron's vibes are probably much more similar to mine. And so I see why Aaron has Jay as his opener pretty much all the time, because it's like the perfect, like he really gets people engaged in the show. And then when you come out as, Aaron's like the same age as me, white guy, like I totally get why Aaron does that, because Jay's the best. So go see Jay Flake if you've never seen him. Yeah, he's one of my favorites. And just a good person. Just, he brought his wife, just a good vibes, just there to have a good time. We talked about this after the show of like so much in comedy, and I'm not a dispense comedy advice guy because I haven't been doing it very long, and I don't think people need to listen to me, but I'll tell you this. In comedy, you got to be funny, but you got to be easy to work with, you got to be good vibes, and you got to show up on time and do what you're expected to do. There are a lot of people who only have one of those elements. There are a lot of people who are very funny and don't get the other elements. But if you can do those sort of, I don't know if that was 4 or 5 elements, if you can have those, you can be successful and people will book you again. So that was my weekend. That is what I've got coming up, Mic Drop Plano. If you were in the Chattanooga area, I am featuring for Big Rich Brock, July 24th and 25th. The 24th show is in Ringgold, Georgia, so that's basically Chattanooga. So come see me there. That's at Caffeine Addicts, a coffee shop. And if you Google Caffeine Addicts, Google AI will tell you that addiction to caffeine is real, and there are issues with it. But it is also the name of a coffee shop in Ringgold. And then the Legion Theater in Cartersville, Georgia. Big Rich Brock is like a North Georgia legend, or like celebrity or icon or whatever. So I'm super pumped to work with him. And then end of the month, July 31st, August 1st, I'm in Louisville, Kentucky with Crystalia. And I'm also, I just, secured this in September, going to be featuring for Chris at Helium Atlanta at the end of September. That we're going to be doing 5 shows. And then I have some other things in the works that I'm trying to get close. So I'll add those to the calendar when they come along. But for now, let's get into our story. I'm going to be talking about the Billy Ray Jeters, which was our indoor soccer team in Dallas. But it's so much more than that. It's social media account. It's a lore that is incredibly detailed. It involves a real documentary movie premiere. It involves violent injuries and lots of hilarity. So let's get into Sunroom Storytime, story number 17. So I think every friend group has a lore that is detailed and very funny to them. There's inside jokes. There's lots of things that are very funny to that friend group. And then you try to take that outside the friend group and you realize that maybe it's not funny to them or they don't get it or it's totally lost in translation. There's a lot of that with the Billy Ray Jeters, but then there's a lot of it. We did actually take it out of the group and found a bit of an audience and found a lot of fun. And so that's where we're going today. So in 2014, or I moved to Dallas in 2013 after college, and I was living with my buddies Esteban and Ryan, and we joined a church. We got a community group of single guys. So that group is my core group of friends from Dallas. That's been 13 years now. We have a group chat that has been going for 13 years called Snake and Friends. Snake is my nickname in that group, and the only reason is because Esteban and Ryan were trying to be annoying one day and trying to come up with a nickname for me, and they called me Frank for some reason, and then somehow that became Snake. It's not a good story at all, but that's all they call me is Snake. And we have a Snake and Friends group chat that has been going for 13 years. Several of us live in different states now. One of us lives in Nashville. One of us lives here in Chattanooga. One of us lives in the Washington, D.C. area. Some have moved and come back, but that's still a core group of friends. And out of that core group, we wanted to play a rec league sport together in 2014. So right after we kind of gotten together and met and started hanging out, we're like, let's play a sport together. But the problem is we didn't have a core sport that we were all good at. I mean, for me, I was not to brag, but I was a state champion baseball player. Doesn't mean I was great at baseball, but I was far better than the average person. That's my sport. And there was like one other guy who was really good at baseball, softball, but everyone else was like, maybe softball. And then there were 3 or 4 guys who were good at soccer. I like soccer. I'm bad at it, but I like it. And so we eventually decided, let's play indoor soccer. Let's just give it a try, see how it goes. So we found the closest league to us, which was this small, I mean, these fields were tiny. It was the smallest indoor fields I've ever seen. And it was almost like futsal, if you know what that is, but there were walls. And so we decided to sign up for that, and we needed a team name. If you remember Parks and Rec, this was big time Parks and Rec era. And there's this scene where Chris Pratt, Andy Dwyer, is listing all of the names that he tried for the band Mouse Rat. And he's just going on and on and on and on and on. And so we thought, like, let's take one of those because that's hilarious. One of the best scenes ever. And I think he improvised a lot of it. And so we're going through them. And I remember the one that we thought was so funny was Jet Black Pope, which makes no sense. And Esteban even mocked up a jersey for a Jet Black Pope. And we were like, this is the funniest thing ever. And then we paused and we're like, most of the people will be playing in indoor soccer are Latinos. And they probably don't watch Parks and Rec. And they probably will think that Jet Black Pope means something offensive. It doesn't, but we didn't want. We knew we were going to do bad anyway. We didn't want them to automatically be mad at us. So we're like, no, not Jet Black Pope. And so then we went with another one of the band names, Angel Snack FC. And we played a season at this tiny indoor facility, and it was terrible. The field was so small, and we were so awful that, I mean, the other teams could score from the kickoff within like 20 seconds. 10 seconds. We lost games like 35-2. I mean, I'm not kidding. 35 goals we were allowing. And we were getting beat up. We had a guy, Jason, who got hit in the nuts multiple times. The fields were like, some of the fields you had to, to get to the bench, you had to enter you couldn't go around. You had to go through the field. And I remember one guy came late, and so he tried to run across the field during a play, but the field is so small that he gets halfway there and the ball comes over towards him, and then he smashes into our teammate. Like, he was on our team and he hurt our teammate by trying to run across the field. It was overall like just an absolute disaster. We lost every single game. In fact, I had befriended the owner, Jesus, and I would text him. This is all in Spanish. And I would text him, or he would text me the game times, and then I had like banter with him. And so during the championship game, which obviously we weren't a part of, I texted and said, "Hey, there's this other team that we haven't played that has lost every game. Can we play like a loser championship?" And he thought that was so funny. He was like, "Yeah." He set it up, and this other team was like, they were like high schoolers, but they weren't like good high schoolers. I don't understand what their whole thing was, but they were terrible, and they beat us like 7-2. And we never had jerseys, like we never had anything. It was just like white t-shirts and shin guards like sticking out of our socks. I mean, it was so ragtag. And so I made like this video afterwards, like I don't know, maybe 2 or 3 minute video, and it was pretty funny because it was just how awful we were. And our goalie, he wore a GoPro for a game or two, and our goalie was very good, Nathan Labuda. He was very good. We literally would have lost like 60-0 some games because he was making 20 saves a game. But the GoPro highlights were just terrible because he's just getting the ball ripped at him all the time. I will say I scored a couple goals, or maybe one goal. But anyway, it was a really bad experience. Although we had fun, we were like, we should not play soccer again. So we played softball one season, and we were also not really good at softball either. The problem there was we played through our church team, and they gave us like the C League other players to fill out the roster. But during that time, we found out about there was a softball team somewhere, and they had created an Instagram account, and they were covering their softball team as if they were big time. They would do post-game interviews. They did all this stuff, and we were like, that's really funny. And so we started our own doing that, really related to the soccer or the softball team. The first few posts that didn't really get off the ground. We did a few. It was whatever. And then we decided after softball, we're like, let's go back to indoor soccer, and let's do it right. We found a better league. We got jerseys. Well, we found a better name. So this is where this is a key part of the lore and the whole ethos of the team is Billy Ray Jeters. So the reason for the name, my friend Ryan had grown up a Yankees fan, and he had a full-size cardboard cutout of Derek Jeter. And he had brought it to our, I think the duplex we were living in the apartment. And that was kind of funny. But we also had this very long obsession with Billy Ray Cyrus. And this was at the time when Miley was like kind of breaking out and being like very rebellious. There was like the twerking on the MTV VMAs. And there was this meme going around of Miley twerking. And then like in the corner is like sort of a heavenly figure of Billy Ray looking down like disappointed. And we thought that was the funniest thing ever. I still think that's the funniest thing ever. And so we just loved Billy Ray Cyrus. We loved just the whole, he's very like, we loved Nicolas Cage too. Like just kind of this like strange, hilarious looking celebrity. There's so many funny pictures of Billy Ray and just the name Billy Ray and all that. So we had printed out a picture of Billy Ray Cyrus and then put that on the Derek Jeter cardboard cutout. And that became our Billy Ray Jeter. And we would like put it in our window in our apartment and like just kind of like, I don't know, it was a thing. And so when we came up with a name for our next indoor team, it was easy. We were like the Billy Ray Jeters. Nobody's going to have that. And he became like the icon of our team. We put him on our jersey. We had a picture of Billy Ray on the jersey. And then we made real jerseys. We went to a better indoor place and we got some better players. Like we recruited some better players and we were feeling pretty good about our prospects. So September 2015 was when we started the Billy Ray Jeters. We were really pumped about it. And then we started covering it like a real soccer team. So we would post like team lineups, and we started doing like fake newspaper articles about the games, about Zach Ebner was our manager. We were always like writing articles about Ebner being in trouble, wanting to, is he going to get fired? We would take pictures. We'd do videos of games on our phones. We even did like one day where we did a press conference. Like we were being funny with it, but like a little bit kind of straightforward in how we were doing it. It hadn't gotten weird yet. But the losses were just piling up, loss after loss. We started bringing, I think it was Ryan started bringing a GoPro to games and putting it in the goal. And the highlights were just awful. I mean, we were losing every game. So then we start getting, I'm doing the editing of the videos, and we start getting it starts getting weird. We start getting weirder and weirder with our edits because I'm just having fun. I'm just screwing around. So we played a full season from in September, and we lost every game. Then we started a new season. We lost several of those games, and we had lost every game in the Angel Snack era. And I actually just found this sheet of paper that has some of the scores from our Angel Snack games. We did lose a game 41-1. And so at some point we were over 20 losses in a row without ever winning. And then in December of 2015, we finally won our first game. We went to Applebee's to celebrate. This was became a very big tradition, was going to Applebee's to celebrate wins, because you get a $2 PBR there, and we were hanging out, and almost none of us had kids. None of the core group certainly had kids, and so we had a lot more free time on our hands and a lot of time to hang out. We'd hang out till like, I don't know, 1 a.m. at Applebee's, which was awesome. So that was a big deal to finally get our first win. And then the Instagram really started to take off and started to get pretty weird as things progressed through the years. And I started to really kind of flex my like comedy muscles and my video editing muscles. And we started creating a lot of characters in the Instagram. Billy Ray Jeter, Billy Ray Cyrus, Billy Ray Jeter was the main one, but we created a character called Intern Garth, who was the actual person running the Instagram account. He was the one we could blame all of the weirdness on. We'd be like, no, that was Intern Garth. He was constantly quitting, trying to get more money, because we paid him $1 a year. He had 2 large adult sons, Tharth and Larth or something, that he needed to feed. A lot going on with Intern Garth. He has his own Instagram account. I mean, this is how deep this is getting. He has his own account. He posted the other day, actually. But I started to kind of create kind of genres and things that I was doing with these videos. My favorite one was, we had a lot of games that were late at night, literally like 9:45, 10:30. We had games at 11:15, I think. And so those were what I would call late night Billy. And late night Billy videos were always very sensual. They were like, one of them I did like a text message, and it was like, yo, you up? And then the response was like, yeah, why? And then instead of an eggplant emoji, it was a soccer ball emoji. And then it was like, on my way. And then I did like clips of us playing, but over like Barry White sensual music, things like that. I mean, it was just like so ridiculous. And we were filming every game on GoPros. There was a lot going on in these games because this is indoor soccer. It's very violent. You're running into walls. We got in a lot of fights. We had a lot of bad injuries. Estevan dislocated his knee during a game one time. We got footage of that. And it was just a crazy time, and we had all of this going on. And I think my favorite part is that the teams we were playing had no idea, right? Like, they had no idea that like we were filming them to put on, like, I would make like embarrassing videos of other teams' goalies. They didn't know that I was doing this. Like, they just thought we were a regular indoor team, like any other indoor team. But instead, we had this whole background that we were carrying with us. Whenever we would recruit new players, every time somebody got a new job or something, we're like, see if there's any indoor, soccer players in your job. We would have to like tell them the lore, like, hey, like, you're joining not just an indoor team, you're joining the Billy Ray Jeters. Like, this is what this involves. We're gonna film you. We're gonna do this weird stuff. Please follow the account. Like, this is funny. We never got that many followers. Like, I don't know. We probably still only have like 500 followers. But it was a way to like start exploring comedy in a very niche way. I would spend so much time editing these videos. This was before any kind of easy edit technology. There was iMovie or whatever, but I was using Final Cut. I had, as a journalism major, I had learned video editing in college. And so I was pretty good at it. And this actually helped me keep my skills sharp because I wasn't really using it at work. And anytime I would come up with an idea, I would have to figure out how to execute that idea. I was stealing a lot of stuff off YouTube, so there's a lot of like copyrighted materials. I was using, this was before you could use songs in Instagram videos. Like there was no way to like pull a song like from a reel like you do on like TikTok or Instagram. So a lot of our videos got copyright hits from like Universal Music Group, and we would always just appeal the suspension and say that we owned the music. And sometimes that worked. So a lot of my videos got lost because I was using copyrighted music. But that's the price you got to pay. But one of my other favorite videos was I made a Cinco de Mayo video, which is, I think that's top tier. I think it's one of the best ones ever. But so I'm making these, and my friends are liking them. Some of them are not liking them. We have our wives and like some of our other friends who are just kind of like fans of the account. Meanwhile, we're still playing soccer. We're not doing great, but we're getting better. We're getting better players. We're starting to, challenge in the playoffs a little bit. We're starting to win a few games here and there. And a few years in, we actually win enough to be in the championship game. And this is like one of the great regrets of, honestly, of my life. The championship game, the first time we were in it and we really we were like, I think we're going to win this game. I was in Iceland. I don't regret being in Iceland, but it was over spring break, I think. So I was out of town. Almost the entire core group of Billy Ray Jeter guys was out of town. There was like maybe one or two of us that were there, and we won the game. Like we actually won the championship. It was like 2 years after restarting the Billy Ray Jeters, 3 years after, Angel Snack, all these losses, all of this like just unbelievable, 41-1 and like stuff like that. And we won a championship, and then we weren't there to celebrate. So it was really, that kind of stinks. But we had entered into a new level of being able to like actually challenge for championships. And for some people, that kind of changed the perspective of each game. They cared a lot more, got a little bit too competitive. And, again, we got in a lot of fights. But as we're filming these games, as I'm compiling all this footage and this lore and all this stuff, I started to have this idea of I've always wanted to make a long form thing, like a documentary, like a 20, 30-minute documentary. I love documentaries. As a journalist, I think it's a fun storytelling format. I wanted to flex my skills as a filmmaker, trying to figure out what that even means. And so I just started thinking about making this documentary. And I asked my friends who, especially at the time when no one had kids, were down for anything. And I think at this point trusted my comedic and storytelling abilities, and they were like, this is going to be weird, but we'll enjoy it. I said, hey, can we get together and film like a Netflix style, like sit down documentary interview? And we did a group interview where we talked about just kind of the story of Billy Ray Jeter. And I still didn't know what I was going to do with it, but I was like, if I have this, then I think I can build a story around it. And so I started over the course of like a year and a half, when I had time, compiling this footage, trying to figure out exactly how to put it together. And then I started, I think anytime you're working on a project, you have the big vision, you get excited about it, then you enter that trough, right, where the work starts, where the pain starts, where you're not seeing the end very soon, and it gets harder. And so I think, I kind of let it slip for a while, but I pushed through when I could. And then I started seeing like, oh my gosh, I actually see where this is going. I think I can make this. I think I can do this. I have, there's an unbelievable amount of work left to do, but I have a vision for how I can tell this story. So I started putting in a lot of hours making this good. And I I made a 20-minute documentary about our indoor soccer team. And then it was like, what do I do with this? I thought I want to have a premiere. I want to have like bring everybody over somewhere. Maybe we could project it on a wall or something like that, and it'll just be kind of fun. But then I brought it to the group chat. I was like, hey, I actually have this thing. Like I actually did it. It's not complete yet, but I'm gonna do it. And then we started talking. And we realized like, let's blow it out. Let's have a real premiere. And what does that even look like? And so in Dallas, in like the Oak Cliff area, there's a historic theater called the Texas Theater. It's an older theater. It's very cool. And it is the theater where when Lee Harvey Oswald assassinated JFK and he was on the run, he was trying to get away. I think he killed a police officer as part of his escape, and then he ducks into the Texas Theater to watch a movie, but to hide out there for a while. And I think he was spotted. Somebody had seen him go in there. And so he's in the theater watching the movie thinking, I think he's safe. Well, then I think as he comes out, they arrest him. And so this is the theater where Lee Harvey Oswald was arrested. That's how historic this place is. And I looked into it, and you could rent it for like $600 on a Tuesday night. And we had enough people on the team that were like, hey, if everybody just contributes like $40, we could rent this theater and you could play your movie, right? If you just have it on like a Blu-ray disc, like you can play it on the big screen. This was incredible. So we were like, yeah, we all pitched in, and then we thought, okay, let's make this real. And we blew it out. We did a lot of promo. We invited everyone we could think of. And we had a movie premiere of the documentary that I called Don't Think You'd Understand, the Billy Ray Jeter story, taken from Achy Breaky Heart. Don't Tell My Heart, My Achy Breaky Heart. I Just Don't Think It Understand. It did understand. I called it Don't Think You'd Understand because there was so much about Billy Ray Jeter that most people wouldn't understand. And they put the name on the marquee, the Billy Ray Jeter story. We all dressed up. We wore suits. Our wives wore like nice dresses. There was a red carpet. I had my friend Emily Dreadgold. Shout out to Emily. She drove in from Houston. She was a longtime Billy Ray Jeter fan. She drove in from Houston. She did red carpet interviews along with our friend Kinsey. And my parents came, like people's friends, family. There were a lot of people who came who did not know a thing about the Billy Ray Jeters. I think we had over like 60 people at this movie premiere of a movie I made with no supervision. I had not shown it to anyone. Nobody knew if this was good. I was so nervous. And it was, Max Muncy, three-time All-Star now for the Dodgers. He just played in his third All-Star game 2 nights ago. But at the time, he was, I think he was maybe a one-time All-Star at the time. He's married to my friend Kevin's sister, Kelly. And so he's a friend of ours. And this was in February, so it was in the off season. And he came. So we had a Major League All-Star. I saw this the other day. He's 2 home runs away from being top 5 in Dodgers history in home runs. He was at the Billy Ray Jeter movie premiere. And I was so nervous, but people loved it. They got it, right? They got what was going on. They got the humor. And obviously my friends would, but the people who didn't know anything about it, they were laughing. They were enjoying it. They were appreciating what was going on. And then I also hosted it. On the microphone, welcomed people in. And then afterwards we did like an award ceremony. We did some giveaways. I forgot some of our giveaways were absolutely ridiculous. I think we gave away somebody's cleats, maybe somebody's jersey, and then we debuted our new jerseys, which this was 2019, and the Billy Ray Jeters are still going strong, and I think they're still wearing the same jerseys. I don't think they've gotten new jerseys since our 2019 edition. But it was this big event. It was so much fun. It was like truly the greatest accomplishment of my life and of our friend group's existence was to pull off a real life movie premiere of pretty much a fake documentary that I had made that was about our indoor team. There was no mass appeal. This was not a film festival. This was not a real thing, but it looked like it. It felt like it. We had it on the movie screen. Um, it was amazing. It was, but before comedy, it was the only time I had done something like that, kind of brought a group of people. I don't know if we sold tickets necessarily. I know I sold the Blu-ray discs to anyone who would wanted to, bring it home. But I can't remember if we sold tickets or not. But it was the best night, the best like friend group night. Oh yeah, our friend Jason, I think he flew in. I think he flew in for the premiere because he had already moved away. I think he was in Nashville, and I think he flew in for it. I mean, this was a big deal. It was just an amazing night. It was the perfect summary of what Billy Ray Jeter was and is. And but that wasn't the last night of Billy Ray Jeter. We went on. We would keep playing for years. We eventually won. They're still playing today. I saw that they won like their sixth or seventh championship in December. So they're still winning. They've gotten some really good players. Not winning all the time, certainly. I mean, they're playing season after season after season after season. To get 6 or 7 championships is like one a year or something like that. But still like they're competitive. But I'm kind of the story is getting pretty long, and there's a lot more to go, and a lot more sort of epic and funny stories. And so I'm going to do a part 2 of this probably in a couple of weeks because getting to the end of my indoor soccer career, there's a lot of hilarity and a lot of intrigue there. And so I'm gonna close this with the premiere of the documentary, which I think is a good way to close it because that's the end of one chapter, and then there's chapters, basically 2 and 3 of the Billy Ray Jeter or my story involved with the Billy Ray Jeters. But if you do want to watch that documentary, it is on Vimeo. I will post it a link in the YouTube here, and I'll put it on social media as well. It's 20 minutes. I haven't watched it in a while. It's obviously going to be weird. I think it's very funny. Maybe it's very slow. If I made it again today, there's a million things I would do differently. I was editing on old editing software. I didn't know anything about, first of all, color grading, but I really didn't know anything about how to edit videos and tell stories and those kind of things. And so I would do it so differently today. But I think it's a great document of that time in my life and in our friend group, and just it's funny. And I think if you have had any, a group of friends like this, it will make you smile because it'll remind you of things that you and your buddies have done over the years. And so, if you want to check that out, I will share that. It's like I said, 20 minutes. For now, let me wrap this up because there will be a part 2 at another time. But this has been Sunroom Storytime, story number 17. Wiki Wondering today, I went viral again on Instagram and TikTok. I have a video with more than 1 million views on Instagram and a bunch on TikTok, and it's been shared a billion times. There's a lot of comments. And basically, it's a meme that I made, and it's pointing out, and I'll share it here, but it's pointing out that Tennessee has 14 official state songs, and 2 of them are Rocky Top and Copperhead Road. And both of those have verses about revenue agents from the federal government coming to look for a moonshine still and being disappeared in the hollers. And what that means is murdered. And so the meme I made where just said, Tennessee basically has 2 official songs about murdering federal agents. And people love it. People think it's funny. I will say, unbelievable amount of comments of people who thinking I'm trying to make some political point, and then they're trying to score their own political point. And my favorite thing is that all these people, I probably have 5,000 comments that say the word bootlicker in it. They're like, now Tennessee's a bootlicking state, and everybody's a bootlicker. And they all say it as if they think they're being original, like they're rebels, they're individualists. They know they got this great insult ready to throw on people, and then they use the exact same language as thousands of other people. It's unbelievable to me that they didn't see that there's all these other comments saying the same thing. They think they're being original. And then also a lot of people telling me I'm wrong, which is funny because Google is free. And I'm not wrong. And then a lot of people telling me about other state songs that do have this kind of story in it. A lot of people telling me Amos Moses from Louisiana. People say Gator from Georgia. A lot of things like that. And what I would tell them is, again, use Google. It's free. Gator is not an official song of Georgia. Amos Moses, great song. Should be the official song of Louisiana. It is not. The official song of Louisiana, as we'll see in Wiki Wondering, is You Are My Sunshine. I did the research. You guys are wrong. It's so easy to prove you're wrong. And people are so dumb on the internet. One guy on TikTok, he goes, nowhere in here did you say official state song. Read the meme. It says official state song. It's the first line. It's the easiest thing in the world to see. And the guy was like, nowhere in here did you say that, you idiot. Unbelievable how dumb people are. So we're going to Wiki Wonder about state songs. So, one state, New Jersey, doesn't even have a state song. So there's that. They tried to make it Born to Run by Bruce Springsteen, but the fact that it's a Bruce Springsteen song means that it's got a nice groove and beat, sounds good. And then you listen to the lyrics and you're like, oh, it's actually about wanting to leave New Jersey. That's Springsteen for you. So they didn't do that. Oklahoma, they tried to make Do You Realize by the Flaming Lips as their official rock song. But it was kind of, they did it, but then they kind of didn't do it because the Flaming Lips are like wild drug-using communists. Shout out to Wayne Coyne, by the way. I met him one time when I was interning at the radio station. Really nice guy. Odd, strange guy ever, but Oklahoma legend. But they were like, yeah, maybe he doesn't represent Oklahoma values, so they didn't do that. Maryland, my Maryland, had pro-Confederate language. I believe someone pointed out in the comments that it called Abraham Lincoln a tyrant. That was removed in 2021, so that's pretty funny. And there's a lot of changes in to these state songs, but for the most part, everybody has one. Some of them are pretty boring. Alabama's is just Alabama. I mean, there's so many you could do for Alabama. I mean, Sweet Home Alabama, right? But they just have a song called Alabama. Most of these are pretty boring. I mean, You Are My Sunshine, Louisiana, that's a great song. That's a great song. But there's so many songs about Louisiana, so many great musicians from Louisiana that it feels a little bit lame, but it's not a bad song. It's just, Georgia on My Mind for Georgia. Obviously, that's the one you'd pick. That's an obvious one. That's a great one. Some of these are just, Home on the Range for Kansas. That's pretty good. My Old Kentucky Home and Blue Moon of Kentucky. Those are the Kentucky ones. A lot of people tried to tell me that Kentucky must have songs about this, and they're wrong because those two songs do not mention that. They are not songs about moonshine stills or murdering federal agents. And people are just dumb. They can't Google. They just want to put a comment and tell me I'm wrong. Also, in the info of the meme, I gave the details, and people are still like, what songs? A lot of people are like, Copperhead Road is not an official state Tennessee song. Yeah, it is. Look it up. 2023, I believe, it was named an official state song. It is an official state song. And then other people were like, Copperhead Road's actually about growing cannabis. Yeah, in the last verse. The first two verses are about moonshine. Just read the lyrics. I'm not making stuff up. Let's see, any other interesting state songs? Wow, New Hampshire. They have a lot. No one's ever heard of any of these, but they have a lot of honorary ones. New Jersey, like I said, doesn't have one. New Mexico has a Spanish state song, and they have a cowboy song, and they have a bilingual song, and they have a state ballad. So yeah, they're doing a lot. New York, I love New York, but not New York. That's a surprise, but I guess that's only about the city. Oklahoma not making Oklahoma Breakdown their official song. That's a travesty. It should be Oklahoma Breakdown. Let's see, South Dakota. Hail South Dakota. Okay, so Tennessee. If you're wondering, I'll read all of the Tennessee songs. My Homeland, Tennessee. When It's Iris Time in Tennessee. My Tennessee. The Tennessee Waltz. Rocky Top. There's a bicentennial rap. That sounds terrible. The Pride of Tennessee, Smoky Mountain Rain, Tennessee by John R. Bean, Amazing Grace by John Newton. Not really sure why that's a state Tennessee song. Great song, but John Newton's British. I'll Leave My Heart in Tennessee, My Tennessee Mountain Home by Dolly Parton, Copperhead Road by Steve Earle, The Tennessee and Me, Tennessee, Tennessee, Under a Tennessee Moon, Tennessee in My Dreams, official holiday song, Rockin' Around the Christmas Tree, and then, of course, the newest one, 2026, Drew Holcomb's Tennessee. That's a great song. Those are all official state songs of Tennessee. Texas only has Texas Are Texas. Tennessee's a music state, and, once you start adding some, you just got to keep adding them. But two of those are about what I said they're about. So there's your Wiki Wondering today. Upcoming shows, like I said at the beginning, big time headlining Mic Drop Plano Tuesday, July 21st, coming up. By the time you hear this, it's going to be right around the corner. So please buy your tickets, linked below. Big Rich Brock in Ringgold and Cartersville next week, and then Louisville in a couple weeks. So very excited. It's going to be a great time. Please come out to those shows. Let me know if you heard the podcast and that's what made you come out to the show. That'd be really cool. And if you enjoyed this episode on the Billy Ray Jeters and you want to hear part 2, let me know. And let me know if you watched the documentary. If you took some time out of your day to watch it, I want to know your thoughts. It has been 7 years since we debuted it. So I'm just curious what someone's thoughts are who's watching it here in 2026. So please let me know about that. And we'll see you next time on Sunroom Storytime.